Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Mother Golokananda Priya, could you read the translation? Are you there? Yes? Yes? No? Prananath Prabhu, could you read the translation?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all Krishna Prabhupada. I'm driving, Prabhu.
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
I'm not listening.
All
Sorry.
right. Then, Mother Shyama Gauri, could you read the translation? No? Okay. Everybody else is busy, I guess. Chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant.
She's there, Prabhu.
Oh, okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, Prabhu, I was trying to unmute and I couldn't. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. When Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda came dancing through Nadia, they gave these teachings. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. You are caught up in a whirlpool of senseless action and are sinking lower and lower. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. If you just understand that the spirit soul is the eternal servant of Krishna, you will never have any more sorrows. Chant Hare Krishna, and your eyes will fill with tears, and your body will feel transcendental shivering. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. Simply chant Radha Krishna and join with us. Those are the holy alms we beg. Chant, chant Radha Krishna. Everyone chant. All dangers will be gone when that name is chanted, says Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Chant, chant Radha Krishna. Everyone chant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Somehow there's an echo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading Sri Caitanya Caritamrita Adi Leela, 10th chapter. We're on text number 130.
বড় শাখা এক সার্বভৌম ভট্টাচার্য তার ভগ্নিপতি শ্রী গোপীনাথ আচার্য।
There was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, one of the biggest branches of the tree of the Lord, and his sister's husband, Sri Gopinath Acharya. Purport. The original name of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was Vasudev Bhattacharya. His place of birth, which is known as Vidyanagara, is about 2.5 miles away from the Navadvip railway station or Chanpahati railway station. His father was a very much celebrated man of the name HG Vishnugada. It is said that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the greatest logician of his time in India. At Mithila, in Bihar, he became a student of a great professor named Pakshadhar Mishra, who did not allow any student to note down his explanations of logic. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was so talented, however, that he learned the explanations by heart, and when he returned to Navadvip, he established a school for the study of logic, thus diminishing the importance of Mithila. Students from various parts of India still come to Navadvip to study logic. According to some authoritative opinions, the celebrated logician Raghunath Shiromani was also a student of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's. In effect, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became the leader of all students of logic. Although he was a grihastha householder, he even taught many sannyasis in the knowledge of logic. He started a school at Jagannath Puri for the study of Vedanta philosophy, of which he was a great scholar. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya met Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he advised the Lord to learn Vedanta philosophy from him. But later he became a student of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand the real meaning of Vedanta. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was so fortunate as to see the six-armed form of Lord Chaitanya known as Shadbhuj. A Shadbhuj deity is still situated at one end of the Jagannath temple. Daily Sankirtan performances take place in this part of the temple. The meeting of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is vividly described in Madhya Lila, chapter 6. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote a book of 100 verses named Chaitanya Shataka or Sushloka Shataka. Two other verses he wrote, beginning with the words Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga and Kalan Nashtan Bhakti Yoga Nijamya, are very famous among Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The Gaura Gunadesh Dipika 119 states that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was an incarnation of Brihaspati, the learned scholar from the celestial planets. Gopinath Acharya, who belonged to a respectable Brahmin family, was also an inhabitant of Navadvip and a constant companion of the Lord. He was the husband of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's sister. In the Gaura Gunodesh Dipika 178, it is described that he was formerly the gopi named Ratnavali. According to the opinion of others, he was an incarnation of Brahma. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sha Pandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before speaking, I'd like to ask these permission and blessings from the seniors Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavas, particularly those who are senior in age, advancement in Krishna consciousness or involvement in the Hare Krishna movement. Thank you. So this, the verse here, there's one distinguishing characteristic about this verse that I didn't see in other verses. You see what that was? Anybody?
Mentioning the different avatars.
No, the verse itself. No? That first word, what's that first word?
Bodo Shaka.
Boda. Boda means what?
Big.
Big. Like, don't you say Bodo Bhai? Big brother? Bodo Bhai, Choto Bhai, like that? Boda, Boda, Boda. Boda means big. So there are others are mentioned as branches, but here Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is mentioned as a big branch. So that's the first time I've seen this here so far. A big branch, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Lord Chaitanya, in discussing with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, said that the reason he first came to Puri, of course, there were other reasons as well. He was asked to go there by his mother Sachi, but was to deliver Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And if you recall what happened when Lord Chaitanya came, it was right after he took a sannyas. He wanted to go to Vrindavan, but was misdirected to the house of Advaitacharya. And then from there, he came on his mother's request to Puri. And he was so excited and enthusiastic to get the darshan of Lord Jagannath, who's one of the forms of Krishna, Lord Krishna himself. He went ahead of his party to get the darshan of Lord Jagannath at the Jagannath Puri temple. And upon seeing Lord Jagannath, what happened?
He became unconscious.
Yeah, he couldn't even say the full name, Jagannath. He said Jaga, and then he went into an ecstatic trance, unconscious. So you say Chokidhar? How do you say?
Chaukidar.
How's that? Chauki?
Chaukidar.
Chaukidar means what?
The guard.
The guards. Yeah, the guards at the temple. They were thinking this is some rascal putting on a show. So they were going to beat Lord Chaitanya. But Sarvabhauma happened by and he was nearby the temple. So he said, no, let me take him. So he had him brought to his house. And he examined him carefully. And being a scholar, he was well aware of the various scriptures and symptoms. Interestingly, although it said that he was on the impersonalist side, he was aware of the symptoms of someone who's a great elevated Vaishnava, and their symptoms of different symptoms of ecstatic trance. So you could see that practically all parts of Lord Chaitanya's bodily functions had suspended, except he put a little bit of cotton on the nose, near the nose of Lord Chaitanya. You could see he was breathing very, very slightly. So he concluded that he was in a very highly ecstatic trance that's only experienced by the most elevated persons. So he tried to revive him, bring him back to external consciousness in various ways, but it didn't work. And later, because the way to bring him back to consciousness was employed by his devotees when they arrived shortly afterwards, and they were directed by Gopinath Acharya to the house of
Compacts to
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
a small sized.
A small, Mother Shobharati, you're on. We're hearing you're a small size something. Small size what? I don't know. So they came, and then they chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and immediately Lord Chaitanya came back to consciousness. So if you remember, then there was a discussion between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, about, and some of the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because he had many, many disciples, about the divinity of Lord Chaitanya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his disciples, it was not just based on their emotional feeling, not by just because they feel like, oh, he's great, he can show some miracles, he must be God. No, but based on the scriptures, they argued, they debated back and forth. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his disciples, they said, well, in the scriptures, there's no incarnation in the Kali Yuga. You know this. And then Gopinath Acharya, he retorted, no, he quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, he quoted from two places in Srimad Bhagavatam, and from the Mahabharata also, about the appearance of the Lord in Kali Yuga as a covered incarnation, which is referring to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya didn't generally show himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he showed himself as a devotee of the Lord, showing how to be a Vaishnava. So there was some debate. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya didn't really take it seriously, and then Gopinath Acharya, he concluded his debate. There's a nice verse that I don't know if you know this verse that he concluded. He said, Atapi te deva. Do you know this verse? Atapi te deva padam bhujadvayam prashado leshanu grihita evahi. You know, janati tatvam bhagavan mahimno. How does the last line go? Chiran vichinvan. Na chaiva charan vichinvan. Anyway, he said that somebody who speculates, trying to understand God, tries to figure out God, he may do so for millions and millions of years, and he won't get close to the toe of God, of Krishna. But someone who gets just a drop of mercy from the lotus feet of the Lord, the two lotus feet of the Lord, they can understand to some extent the Lord's Bhagavan greatness and glories. And that drop of mercy from the lotus feet of the Lord is personified in the Guru, or the great advanced devotees. So anyway, later Lord Chaitanya then heard from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had a parental kind of feeling toward Lord Chaitanya, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so wonderfully attractive. And as a sannyasi, Sarvabhauma thought, well, how is it that this such an attractive person is going to maintain his vows of renunciation? Very, very difficult. So he thought, well, I better purify him by teaching him the Vedanta Sutra, my understanding of Vedanta Sutra. So Lord Chaitanya agreed to hear from him for 7 days. He heard. And after that, Sarvabhauma was a bit concerned. He said, you're not understanding, you're not asking any questions. Lord Chaitanya said, well, no, I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm not asking any questions. No, because I don't understand your interpretation of Vedanta Sutra. But so Sarvabhauma said, well, then why don't you ask some questions? He said, well, no, I understand very well the meaning of Vedanta Sutra, but your explanations are like clouds covering the sun. The information in the Vedanta Sutra is very clear, straightforward, but you're using the commentary of Shankaracharya, Sharirak Bhashya, are simply misunderstanding and covering the real meaning. Oh, so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a little bit surprised by that. So he said, well, then you tell me, you tell me. So Lord Chaitanya did. And he was again surprised and astonished at Lord Chaitanya's understanding. And then there was Lord Chaitanya quoted the verse, Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirganti Apyarukrame. There's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that says, even the liberated souls, those who have achieved freedom from all material attachments, they take pleasure in hearing about the activities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh, so Bhattacharya, he was surprised at that. He said, well, why don't you tell me your interpretation? Lord Chaitanya said, no, you tell me first yours, and then I'll say mine. You go first. So Bhattacharya gave 9 explanations, and Lord Chaitanya gave 64 explanations without touching Sarvabhaumas. So then, Sarvabhauma, being a logician and appreciative of scholarship, he became dumbfounded, and he realized that this person is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then, as mentioned here in this verse, Lord Chaitanya exhibited his form of Sadbhuj. Sadbhuj. Sadbhuj means what?
Six hands.
6 arms. 6 arms. So this is one of the forms of Lord Chaitanya or Krishna. This is an unusual form. You know, in the Vedic teachings, you'll see, sometimes we see Lord Vishnu has how many arms? Lord Vishnu has how many arms?
Chaturbhuja?
4 arms, yeah. Kali has how many arms?
She has. Yes.
A lot of arms. Lord Nrsimha sometimes has 10 arms. The universal form has thousands of arms, right? So the argument of the logicians who say that God is made in the image of man is not upheld by these, because we don't find people walking around with 4 arms, 6 arms, 10 arms, or 1,000 arms. Also, the Vedic system says that God incarnates not only in human form, but in all the different species of life. So anthropomorphism is not a good argument against the Vedic conception of Bhagavan, God. So those 6 arms, the 6-armed Sadbhuj form of Krishna was shown there at that time to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. What are the 6 arms? Who can explain the 6 arms of Sadbhuj?
It's a Sitaram.
What are the what do the arms have? Usually, you know, those arms, like Lord Vishnu, he has arms, 4 arms, Chakra, Padma, Shankha.
They have Sitaram, who has like the bow.
Rama has bow and arrow.
Yes.
Krishna has flute, and I don't know what the other one has, but and Chaitanya has Kamandala.
Yeah, Krishna has flute and stick or rod for being a cowherd. Yeah, and Lord Chaitanya has sannyasi stick, rod, danda, and water pot, kamandalu, as a sannyasi. So these are, some people say that it's Lord Ramchandra's Maryada Purushottam. You know this? Maryada Purushottam means he appeared as a perfect king. Then Krishna is Lila Purushottam, pastimes, exhibiting the pastimes, and Lord Chaitanya was Prema Purushottam, giving out love of God. So this Sadbhuj deity is worshipped in Jagannath Puri. He also appeared in a different Sadbhuj to Lord Nityananda after first meeting Lord Nityananda in Navadvip. Shortly thereafter, there was a Vyasa Puja celebration, and he exhibited a Sadbhuj form to Lord Nityananda. And he also exhibited the Sadbhuj deity to form to Maharaj Prataparudra in Puri as well. So seeing these, the form of Sadbhuj, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya composed, as a great scholar, he composed these verses glorifying Lord Chaitanya, which Srila Prabhupada mentions the Sanskrit here. I have the translations for those two famous verses that are found in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, especially, are remembered. And I'll read them to you for these two verses. Let me surrender, this is Sarvabhauma saying, let me surrender unto the personality of Godhead, who has appeared now as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the ocean of all mercy and has come down to teach us material detachment, learning, and devotional service to himself. Vairagya Vidya Nijya Bhakti Yoga. And the two, since pure devotional service unto the personality of Godhead has been lost in the oblivion of time, the Lord has appeared to renovate the principles, and therefore I offer my obeisances unto his lotus feet. These were two prayers by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, it's only by your mercy that I've been delivered from this mire of thinking that just by logic I'm going to understand the supreme truth. So, you know what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to that? Anybody? No? He said, actually, it's not by my mercy. It was Gopinath Acharya, your brother-in-law. He's a Vaishnava. And because he desired your deliverance, therefore I'm doing it. That's why. That's what he said. So this is consistent with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness that Prahlad Maharaj says, unless you take the dust of the feet of a pure devotee, you're not going to be able to advance in Krishna consciousness and get the mercy of Krishna. So the principle is there. Adau Guruvashraya. Please first take shelter of a guru or spiritual teacher, devotee of Krishna, and by the mercy of the devotee you get Krishna. And then that Gopinath Acharya is his brother-in-law. He met the devotees when they first arrived in Puri and directed them to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Sometimes it's said that Gopinath Acharya was present while Lord Chaitanya was explaining the Vedanta Sutra to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and later took birth as Baladev Vidyabhushan to write the commentary of the Gaudiyas to combat the attacks of other sampradayas against the Gaudiyas, that they had no Vedanta Sutra commentary. Baladev Vidyabhushan. Here it says, according to the opinion of others, he was an incarnation of Brahma. I don't know how that works. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Gopinath Acharya ki jai.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Gopinath Bhattacharya ki jai.
Any questions, comments, observations, corrections? Big branch, Sarvabhauma. Yeah, big branch. Oh, Mother Shamagori has her hand up. Hare Krishna.
Just for clarification, Prabhuji, isn't Haridas Thakur, Haridas Thakur also Brahma? Incarnation of Brahma?
That's what we say. Yeah. How does that? So, according to the opinion of others, he was an incarnation of Brahma. I don't know if that's true. You know, there's different kinds of incarnations. This is all it's not speculation that there's different kinds of incarnations. You know, there's the kind of incarnation where they're actually the person, and there's like when Vidura was an incarnation of Jamaraj, right?
Yeah.
So Yamaraj actually left his post in Samyamipuram to come after he was cursed by Mandak Muni, and they had to have a replacement to take over his service in the meantime. So that he was an incarnation of Yamaraj, but he was actually Yamaraj. Sometimes the incarnations, though, are incarnations of Avesh, means they give the potency, but they're not the person. Shakti Avesh. So Brahma can give his potency to a person, and that's another kind of incarnation. Do you follow?
Yes.
So, and so that's true, but I would only be speculating if that's the kind of incarnation they're referring to here. It's not mentioned or clarified, but that's how it could be.
Okay. Thank you, Roger.
So Brahma can give his potency to more than one person if necessary. Yeah. Jai Ganesh Prabhu, I see your hand up.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam. Srila Prabhupada. I have one question. About getting the dust of the Vaishnavas. What are the different ways of getting the dust of the Vaishnavas other than literally bowing down and getting the dust of the Vaishnavas?
Yeah, that's one. Asking to do some service. Hearing, asking to hear from the Vaishnavas, which is and paying attention to what, for example, Srila Prabhupada gives instructions, and hearing them and following them. Those are the main parts begins with hearing, and then, as you're just doing, asking questions in a receptive manner. Those are good ways.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome, Prabhu. Okay, next one.
Kashi Mishro, Pradumno Mishro, Rai Bhabanando, Jahar Milone, Prabhu Paila Anando.
In the list of devotees at Jagannath Puri, which begins with Paramananda Puri, Swarup Damodar, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Gopinathacharya. Okay, those were four. Kashi Mishra was the fifth. Prabdumna Mishra was the sixth, and Bhavananda Rai the seventh. Lord Chaitanya took great pleasure in meeting with them. Purport. In Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya lived at the house of Kashi Mishra, who was the priest of the king. Later, his house was inherited by Vakreshvara Pandit, and then by his disciple Gopal Guru Goswami, who established a deity of Radhakanta there. The Gora Guradesh Deepika 193 states that Kashi Mishra was formerly Kubja in Mathura. Pradumna Mishra, an inhabitant of Odisha, was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Pradumna Mishra was born of a Brahmin family and Ramananda Roy of a non-Brahmin family. Yet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Pradumna Mishra to take instructions from Ramananda Rai. This incident is described in the Antya Lila chapter 5. Bhavananda Rai was the father of Sri Ramananda Rai. His residence was in Alalanath, Brahmagiri, which is about 12 miles west of Jagannath Puri. By caste, he belonged to the Karana community of Odisha, whose members are sometimes known as Kayashtas and sometimes as Shudras. His son, Ramananda Rai, was the governor of Madras under the control of King Prataparudra of Jagannath Puri. So Kashi Mishra, has anybody been to the home of Kashi Mishra in Puri? No, you can still visit that they keep Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's padukas. What do you say those padukas? What are those? Shoes, no? Wooden shoes.
Wooden, yeah.
Yeah, padukas. They keep them there. And also his bahirva, his dhoti, his sannyas dhoti is there in a glass case. It's not far from the temple of Jagannath. It's close to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So when Lord Chaitanya came, because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, being the Raj Pandit, he was the Pandit for the king, and Kashi Mishra being the priest of the king, they had some relation. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked Kashi Mishra, please allow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to stay in your house. Another name for Lord Chaitanya's room in Kashi Mishra's house is called Gambhira. You've heard that? Gambhira. Yeah. So it's very interesting that you have this Kashi Mishra was Kubja previously in Mathura. Do you remember Kubja? Anybody?
Yeah, Prabhu.
He hunchback.
Go ahead. Tell us about Kubja.
She was the hunchback, and
Yeah.
Krishna had blessed her when he went to for the wrestling match, and when he blessed her, she became straight.
Yeah, he not only he straightened her up actually. Yeah, he said she had some sandalwood pulp and other things that was meant for Kamsa. Just prior to that, some washer people had come by and they had some fine clothes they were bringing to Kamsa. And Krishna and Balaram were there. And so Krishna said, well, why don't you give them to us? They said, oh, no, we're not. So Krishna took care of them. And then with Kubja, he asked similar things. She was bringing the sandalwood pulp and things to Kamsa for his enjoyment. And Krishna, give it to us. So she agreed. And as a result of that, even though she was a hunchback, he straightened her up. She became a beautiful woman, Kubja. So it's interesting here that Kashi Mishra was previously Kubja. So and Bhavananda Roy, he had 5 sons. So one of them was Ramananda Roy. So they were from Orissa, but later Ramananda Roy went to southern India, the southern part, to be the governor of Madras under the Maharaj Prataparudra's government. And later, on the request of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Roy came back to Puri and stayed, was the constant companion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. So Lord Chaitanya had just asked Prataparudra Maharaj to relieve him of his position so he could come, and immediately Prataparudra Maharaj, yes, and he gave him not only he relieved him of his managerial duties, gubernatorial duties, but he also gave him a full pension there for staying in Puri as retirement. Apparently they didn't have Social Security at that time. So we have Kashi Mishra, Pradyumna Mishra, and Bhavananda Roy.
Kashi Mishra, Pradyumna Mishra, and Bhavananda Roy.
Bhavananda Roy. Okay, next.
One question, Prabhu.
Yeah, I didn't see your hand. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay.
So, is that Kubja in her past life, Surpanakha? So, was that the same? True?
Well, I know there's some people say that. I know that there's one Purana that says that. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, a partial incarnation of Satyabhama.
Oh,
How that works, I don't know. But you can see in the, the 10th canto, we're not talking, in Krishna book that's not mentioned, but in the 10th canto, during this pastime of Lord Krishna and Balaram dealing with Kubja, there's a description there by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
all right. Thank you.
আলিঙ্গন করি তারে বলিল বচন, তুমি পাণ্ডু পঞ্চ পাণ্ডব তোমার নন্দন।
Embracing Roy Bhavananda, the Lord declared to him, you formerly appeared as Pandu, and your 5 sons appeared as the 5 Pandavas.
রামানন্দ রায় পট্টনায়ক গোপীনাথ, কলানিধি সুধানিধি নায়ক বাণীনাথ।
The 5 sons of Bhavananda Roy were Ramananda Rai, Patanayaka Gopinath, Kalanidhi, Shuddhanidhi, and Nayaka Badinath. So we have Ramananda Rai, Patanayaka Gopinath, Kalanidhi, Shuddhanidhi, and Nayaka Badinath. Go ahead. Ramananda Rai.
Sorry.
Ramanand Rai,
Ramananda Roy, Pattanayak
Patanayaka Gopinath, Kalanidhi,
Kalanidhi
Gopinath,
Shuddhanidhi,
Shuddhanidhi
and Nayaka
Nayak
Badinath.
Baninath.
Nayak Baninath.
This Patanayaka name is very, very common in Orissa, isn't it? Patanayaka. Yeah. What's the meaning of Patanayaka? Anybody know? Patanayaka. I meet many people with Patanayaka name from Orissa. Okay. 5 sons. Okay.
এই পঞ্চপুত্র তোমার মোর প্রিয় মাত্র, রামানন্দ সহ মোর দেহ ভেদ মাত্র।
Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu told Bhavananda Roy, your 5 sons are all my dear devotees. Ramananda Roy and I are one, although our bodies are different. Port. The Gaura Gunadesh Dipika 120-24 states that Ramananda Rai was formerly Arjun. He is also considered to have been an incarnation of the Gopi Lalita. Although in the opinion of others, he was an incarnation of Vishaka Devi. He was a most confidential devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, although I am a sannyasi, my mind is sometimes perturbed when I see a woman, but Ramananda Roy is greater than me, for he is always undisturbed, even when he touches a woman. Only Ramananda Roy was endowed with the prerogative to touch a woman in this way. No one should imitate him. Unfortunately, there are rascals who imitate the activities of Ramananda Roy, and we need not discuss them further. In Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's final pastimes, Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar always engaged in reciting suitable verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and other books to pacify the Lord's ecstatic feelings of separation from Krishna. When Lord Chaitanya went to southern India, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya advised him to meet Ramananda Roy, declaring that there was no devotee as advanced in understanding the conjugal love of Krishna and the gopis. While touring South India, Lord Chaitanya met Ramananda Roy by the bank of the Godavari, and in their long discourses, the Lord took the position of a student And Ramananda Roy instructed him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concluded these discourses by saying, "My dear Ramananda Roy, both you and I are madmen, and therefore we met intimately on an equal level." Lord Chaitanya advised Ramananda Roy to resign from his government post and come back to Jagannath Puri to live with him. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to see Maharaj Prataparudra because he was a king, Ramananda Rai, by a Vaishnava scheme, arranged a meeting between the Lord and the king. This is described in the Madhya Lila, chapter 12, verses 41 to 57. Sri Ramananda Roy was present during the water sports of the Lord after the Ratha Yatra festival. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered Sri Ramananda Roy and Sri Sanatana Goswami to be equal in their renunciation. Although Sri Ramananda Roy was a grihasta engaged in government service, and Sri Sanatana Goswami was in the renounced order of complete detachment from material activities, they were both servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who kept Krishna in the center of all their activities. Sri Ramananda Roy was one of the 3.5 personalities with whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed the most confidential topics of Krishna consciousness. Mahaprabhu discussed the most, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Pradyumna Mishra to learn the science of Krishna from Sri Ramananda Roy. As Subal always assisted Krishna in his dealings with Radharani in Krishna Lila, so Ramananda Roy assisted Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his feelings of separation from Krishna. Sri Ramananda Roy was the author of the Jagannath Vallabha Nataka. So it's mentioned here that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he traveled to South India, met Ramananda Roy, and they met on the bank of the Godavari River. And there's some very famous exchanges that they had there, and perhaps you can remember some of them. Initially, so Ramananda Roy was asked by Lord Chaitanya, he said, "I'm the student, and you please explain to me what is the goal of life and how to attain it." You remember this? Please, this is big information. What is the goal of life? There's a goal of life, and how can we attain it? So Ramananda Roy was very hesitant to speak because Lord Chaitanya was from a Brahmin background, and he was a sannyasi, which is the highest order of social order, plus being an incarnation, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who can speak better than he? So Ramananda Roy was quite hesitant to speak in that way. So Lord Chaitanya then responded to him just to reassure him and to encourage him to speak. He said, you know what he said? The famous verse. Kiba Bipra, Kiba Nyashi Shudra Kene Noi, Je Krishna Tatta Veta Se Guru Hoy. Whether you're a Brahmin, Vipra, Kiba Nyashi, a sannyasi, Shudra, or a Shudra, doesn't matter. Je Krishna Tattva Veta. What is the qualification for the Guru? You must know, anyone who actually knows the science of Krishna, they're Guru. Se Guru Hoy. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Grihe Tako, Bone Tako, Shraddha Hari Bole Tako. Whether you're a household or renunciate, always chant the holy names. So then, Ramananda Roy began explaining the principles or path of Krishna consciousness, making many suggestions, and Lord Chaitanya rejected them one after another. Even Ramananda Roy said, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, as well as any austerity you perform, should be done as an offering to Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, that's external. Finally, what did Lord Chaitanya accept as the beginning of the path of Krishna consciousness? Do you remember?
Hearing in the association of the devotees.
Yes, hearing. Give up. mental speculation. Give up the speculative method to try to understand God, and go on hearing from a realized soul, someone who's advanced and has realized Krishna consciousness. Yeah, so these talks were very important. And then they went into great detail into the elevated topics of Krishna, which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only discussed with Ramananda Roy, Sikhi Mahiti, Swarup Damodar, and Sikhi Mahiti's sister. So in general discussions, Lord Chaitanya didn't discuss the Rasa Leela pastimes. Although it's very common that people like to talk about Radha Krishna pastimes and the Radha Krishna Leela and the gopis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving his example, those are very confidential topics. They're not to be discussed publicly, generally speaking. Ramananda Rai, yes. Questions, comments, suggestions, corrections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
I think I saw here somewhere about 3.5 personality he gave.
Yes.
What is half personality?
This wouldn't be appreciated by ladies today. The half is Sikhi Mahiti's sister.
Sister. Okay.
I mean, I don't think it was to consider she was, but that she wasn't. Ramananda Roy, Swarup Damodar, and Sikhi Mahiti were generally always with Lord Chaitanya, and she was also there, but not as often. So that's the half, not because she's a woman, but because she wasn't there as often as the others. Like it says here, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy were Lord Chaitanya's constant companions in Puri. Thanks for asking that question.
Isn't it, I heard some conversation in the past also, isn't it in America they address like this? In
Like
English?
what?
Half personality?
Oh no, they say the wife is the better half. That's a statement. Yeah, so but that means takes the husband and wife as one whole unit, as a unit. That's a different connotation or different meaning, I think. Unless there's some other way. I don't know that other way. So here it says that Ramananda Roy also was instrumental in arranging for Maharaj Prataparudra to meet Lord Chaitanya, even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very hesitant to meet him. We talked briefly about that last time. Prataparudra Maharaj. It's not that sannyasis never met kings, even. There's the Maharaj Nimi was met by 9 sannyasis, Karabhajana Muni, and the nine sons of the 9 sons of Rishabdev who became sannyasis, renunciants. And I would say that part of this is my understanding, might not be correct, but part of the reason that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't meet Prataparudra Maharaj easily was to increase Prataparudra Maharaj's anxiety and love for him. Just as when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur first asked Gaur Kishore Das Babaji for initiation, he was rebuffed. He said, no, I can't do that. Then later he said, I'll ask Mahaprabhu, see what he says. And then when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came back, he said, did you ask, what did Mahaprabhu say? And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, I forgot to ask. Like that, he put him off different times, again and again. So in a similar way, just to increase the desire. Okay. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. everyone.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Kavita, will you just stick around? Oh, she left.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.